Okay, Shalom, Shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholu Yumla Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the Akim and Akwaf, guys out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf. Just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And this is an article from BuzzFeed, and this is Senator Chris Murphy, right? Which I should have went to the YouTube hookup, but it says, I cannot believe how incredibly stupid this country has become. This Trump nominee was asked to define white culture, and things got awkward so quickly. Yeah, and he made all these people are in office and sitting there being questioned and being made a fool of. Like you can just see that these people are just foolish and or base people. Even from that interview with Pam Bondi and all of them. When you go into Christy Gnomes, um, everyone in Pete Hegseth, all of them. Every time they're sat down and they're questioned, you can just see how stupid these people are. Well, let me just grab a quick scripture real quick, because what you're witnessing is the fall of Esau's kingdom. Ecclesiasticus 25:7. Salakia. It says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And this is what we're witnessing. Because when you get off into what this guy is saying, it's not about, because they got what they call replacement theology. The white man is being replaced, white culture is being erased, and all this bullshit like that. But what's happening is you're becoming obsolete. What's really happening is you're at the end of your rope, and you're not important anymore to the people, and that's what's going on with Esau. They're not being seen as these. They're not being respected how they used to be, for lack of better terms. But let's read into some of this, because this one, I'm not sure. I mean, we can't. We have to qualify that this is not a color thing, because there's no such thing as white people or black people. Because as you can see, this guy right here, he's clearly not the color of his t-shirt. I mean, of his shirt, right? His collars of his shirt. You can clearly see that he doesn't match his shirt. He's red, and that's the way that the scriptures describes Esau as being red, man, skin color wise. But skin colors are not ethnicities. These are Edomites, if they are considered to be so-called white people. Now we do have to qualify that there are Israelites that look like this. So it's not a skin color thing. It's a DNA thing of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12 tribes of Israel come through Jacob, and they are dark melanated people overall. But being scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth, they can look like people like this right now. So, according to Numbers chapter 1, your pedigree or your seed line goes through your father. So it doesn't make no difference what you come out looking like. The mother has nothing to do with the ethnicity of a child. It's the father, because the father carries the seed within him, which is called sperm. The kids are already within him, so they are what he is. And we have to qualify that. But let's get into some of what this guy said as to why it's being said that let me read the title again. I cannot believe how incredibly stupid this country has become. This Trump nominee was asked to define white culture, and things got awkward so quickly. And this is all racism, man. Donald Trump's State Department nominee, Jeremy Carl, and these people don't have no qualifications. It's just that they loyalists to Trump. That's it. Recently answered questions before the Senate and had several uncomfortable moments after his past comments about white culture were raised. One interaction in particular went viral after Senator Chris Murphy asked Carl to define white identity. Here's Carl's painful, awkward response. Trump nominated a legit white nationalist to a top post at the State Department. I asked him some basic questions about his belief in the erasure of white culture. Watch this embarrassing fumbling answer. like he has never before been asked to explain his views, right? And again, you know what I'm saying? Is their culture is not being erased because you can still, listen to, well, country music is not there. Everything they have is really stolen, but you can listen to, you can dress like them, or they have their own way of dress. Like right now, if you look at the Winter Olympics, that's their shit. You don't see no Jakes. There's a few, maybe one or two so-called black people that's in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? But they're the ones that's skiing and fucking snowboarding and fucking what they call it, curling and all this other shit. All them stupid ass sports they got. Like that's their culture. It's not being erased. You can actually that that's their shit. They got certain places they can go. Cowboys and Indians type shit, whatever. These rodeos and shit. They have their pickleball and their little museums and shit that they go to. Their music. You know what I'm saying? Their little orchestras and shit. You know what I'm saying? They got their own. Their bland ass food. Things that they do. They have. Esau got a whole different saltless life, man, that they live, but they're being ignored. That's what's going on. It's not like they're not getting the praise that they used to get. People looking down on them and shitting on them now. They're not. That's why Trump wants to so-called make America great again. He wants to bring back white supremacy, man, at its height, because it's always been there, but he is not at its height like how it was, for lack of better terms. He says certain types of Anglo-derived culture that comes from our history, Carl responded. So the guy, Murphy, said, like what? Carl paused for a moment and said, like, think about this. He kind of looked like, what's that comedian? I can't think of that dude's name, playing the movies. But he says, Senator, I would say if you were to look at the book by one of your former Senate colleagues, Born Fighting, the sort of Irish military culture and certain, the pride that went with that would be one example, Carl continued. And Scott and Irish, you know what I'm saying, a lot of that is Israelites, you know what I'm saying, so-called blacks, because so-called black people ran Scotland and Ireland and places like that, man. So a lot of this stuff that, Esau don't have no culture of his own, man. He don't have no culture of his own. This man doesn't do nothing but run throughout the planet and steal shit. The only thing that Esau has going for him is the sword. And basically the Lord just placing him in power. That's all. The Lord has set them up for a time period, and that time period is coming to an abrupt end right about now, man. All right, let me get this back into the Apocrypha real quick. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, and it's a beautiful thing, man. This man, he's caving. Because they're biblically, these are Edomites. And we have to keep on saying that, man. These are not white people. They don't look like a glass of milk. Talking about white identity. Get the fuck out of here, man. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Let me start at verse 7. Context. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? So when is this man's kingdom going to come to an end? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And you can see that. You don't think that these so-called white men are tired of seeing their daughters arm in arm with a nigga? These little caramel babies that they having, knowing full well that their daughters are being pounded down by these jakes. They don't like that shit. You think this guy right here ain't getting no, I can't say. But come on, man. You can take a good look at this guy. You could, and all these Edomites that's in office, they got the money. They got power. They have say-so. The only way that they can really get women is through this trafficking that you starting to see coming through with these Jeffrey Epstein files. That's the way that they get women. They don't have no game to pull no chicks, man. And then you think that, let's just say, somebody like a Bill Gates or Donald Trump or whoever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? You a billionaire. And you got to deal with one bitch. You stupid as hell anyway. But that's your white culture. That's your culture. Because so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans' original culture is that you can have multiple women. You can have multiple wives. Here you go. Your white culture is you dealing with kids and children, and you're grapists, man. You're that shameful spewing is amongst your ass. All that slavery. Imagine what they was doing during slavery if they doing shit like this right now in 2020, in the 2020s, man. Imagine when there was nobody to check their asses. Imagine when there was no internet. Ain't nobody running them down. No investigative reporters and shit coming out with these stories on their asses. Imagine then, man. Imagine the shit that they've been doing all along. Just wickedness, bro. And he's talking about some damn white identity. So this guy goes on to cut his ass. Okay, so Murphy interjected. You're now retreating to ethnic identity. You don't speak about ethnic identity. You speak about white identity. So tell me the values that stitch together white identity and that make it different from black identity, he asks firmly. And you always notice it's going to always be black and white because we just read it. Let me go back to it. It's a lot. Yeah. When they say black and white, they mean Jacob and Esau. Let's go back to verse 9 again, 2 Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, the so-called white man, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That's why you always going to see black and white, black and white. It's always been this fight of so-called black and white, black and white. It's going to continue to be that because this is a fight between Esau and Jacob, man. It's spiritual. Matter of fact, when you go into Genesis, the Lord said that there will be two nations in her womb, in our foremother's womb. And they will be, matter of fact, let's just get it. Genesis 25 and 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And that's the true name of the Father, Yahweh, which means he exists with the existing one. And the true name of his son is Yahweh Shai, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo-Hebrew. So we have to qualify that as well for new people that may listen to these videos for the first time. That's the Lord's name, Yahweh. The Father's name is Yahweh, and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai. And the Lord's name is not Jesus, and he's not some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. If he was walking the earth today, he would be a so-called Negro. And see, that's a part of that fight. Esau has whitewashed the images and got people out here thinking that he's actually the righteous and that we're the wicked when they're the wicked and we're the righteous. But anyway, let's read on. Genesis 25 and 21, and Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, so she couldn't have children at first. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived, so she's pregnant. And the children, it says children, plural, struggled together within her. They was already fighting. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people will be separated from thy bowels, so they will be totally different. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And that stronger people is the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's why we're just better than everyone else when it comes to everything that's going on the planet. We just don't have no power or no might because the Lord is, he has us on a punishment, so to speak. So he has this base nation over us because these people are stupid as hell, man. Okay, it says, let me read back what Murphy said again. He says, you're now retreating to ethnic identity. You don't speak about ethnic identity, you speak about white identity. So tell me the values that stitch together white identity and that makes it different than black identity, he asked firmly. So he answered, I would say that the white church is very different than the black church in terms of the tone and style on average. Well, yeah, that's true. But Jake, you so-called blacks, they still following in behind your idolatrous white Jesus. But y'all stale. You don't have no flavor or no salt. You just sitting there looking stupid as hell. You know what I'm saying? And being lied to. Jake get up and get energetic and be lied to. You know, Jake turned this shit into a damn concert. But it's all both of you are being lied to when it comes to white Jesus. Okay, so he says, food, ways could often be different. Music could be different, Carl responded. Okay. So there, yeah, there's difference, and he says, are those and those are being erased? Murphy asks. So that's what I was saying. The shit is not being erased. It's there. You have it. The thing that Esau, the problem that Esau is having is he's not being respected like how he used to be. That's the thing. They've lost all respect. People walking by him on the streets and ignoring the shit out of them. You know, they're being looked down as being the wicked. They're you know, their history is coming up as them being wicked as hell. So the Lord is really, you know, what's happening is, let me get this one. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. That's all that it is, man. You know, he's that kid that's not being paid no attention. They're not paying no attention to me. Yeah, damn crybaby, man. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And Yahweh, like God, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. See? So they're going through those curses that we went through. That's all that it is, man. Here you go, you the man with all the money, you got all the power, but yet your bitch would rather be with a broke Jake. Your daughters would rather, you know, not be with a lawyer or a doctor that you know, of the white so-called white race. She'd rather be in the hood, man, with a damn rapper, man. Crazy work. Okay, so he asks, are those being erased? And he answers, well, if you look at the Super Bowl halftime show, which was not in English this year, Carl responded. Oh man. So our ability to access white churches, our white food, or white music is being erased. Murphy asks, chuckling. And again, they're not white because you can clearly see this guy's shirt is white, and you know, he's pinkish to reddish in color, man. Not saying that he's an Edomite, but you know, Edomites are red, man. I'm not saying that that's what he is because again, color doesn't have anything to do with this truth like that. Okay, so Carl, visibly uncontrolled, Carl, visibly uncomfortable, then said, I'm concerned with the majority of common American culture that we had for some time, that through particularly mass immigration, I think has become much more balkanized. And I think that weakens us. I'm not apologizing for it. See, so, and let me get this one because Esau has that perpetual hatred. He got that perpetual hatred, and it's nothing they can do to turn up the tides, man. Because this is all biblical. The Lord set it up for them to fall, man, and it's just time for them to fall. You know, they had a time to run, they've had it, and it's time for this shit to cave, man. It just is what it is. It's time to shut down shop. No, it's like closing the business. Hell, our office hours are from 9 to 5. When it's 5 o'clock, hey, people outside knocking at the door like, nah, hey, it's a done deal. You should have been here beforehand. You know, we're not gonna stay open to 6 because you you feeling like we need to for you. Nah. When the store shuts down, it's time to shut down, man. And that's the same way with you Edomites, man. The Lord set a border for you people. Okay, so it says, Ezekiel 35 and 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And that's what's going on with Esau. You know what I'm saying? He has that perpetual hatred towards Jake, and the Lord is exposing it. And because of that, you know, because we're the apple of the Lord's eye, they're going to have to pay for the things that they've done to the children of Israel. And a part of that is the falling of their nation, man, because they are a nation of people. Don't get to thinking that because you live in America, you're a part of these people. America is just a continent. A nation of people has to do with their race, their ethnicity. And you know, but you know, the so-called white man, he has fooled the world into thinking that, you know, when you live in a continent, you're all one. Be proud of your nation. Be a patriotic of your nation. No, we should be patriotic for being Israelites, not because we live in America. You know, you going and suiting up and going to war for these crackers and shit just because you live here with them. Nah, get the hell out of here. So let's go back to the article, finish it up, because this what it is like I said again, these people they have the power, they have the might. But when you're a woman, I got to use the illustration of the woman because there's a saying that, you know, when you can tell a nation by their women, you know. And when your women are coming up against you, when your women is shitting on you, when your women, the very people, imagine, bro, 50, 60, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, we can go back 100 or so, it's definitely during slavery. Imagine from slavery up to now. Here you go, you had where the so-called black man couldn't even look a motherfucking eye. His head was down. All he done was just go to the field, do his work. He had to let his wife get popped by, you know what I'm saying, the so-called white man. Now all of a sudden, here you go, the so-called black man is walking through public with the best looking of your bitches. He got a better looking bitch than you got. Here you go, you at the crib. You got this guy right here. He got all this power. I'm willing to bet you at the crib. His wife probably 200 or 300 pounds. He probably got some kids that don't like his ass, if he got any kids, you know. And then you seeing Jake in his glory in your kingdom at his lowest. Jake at his lowest in your kingdom, walking around, man, just out here, just shitting in your face, man. Crazy work, bro. And that's what it is, man. This is what's hurting them so much. He in the halftime show. What the fucking halftime show got to do with anything? Shit, motherfuckers, they learned Spanish from you, motherfuckers, when you conquered them. Get the hell out of here. Okay. Okay, so he says, I think you're struggling. Oh, no. So this guy Murphy asking back, I think you're struggling with the answer. I think you're struggling to answer my question, right? Because underlying your beliefs is a sentiment that white culture is just simply better, Murphy pointed out. And Esau can't live without Jake, man. If it wasn't for Jake, you wouldn't have no entertainment. Your food would all be bland. Your sports would be, they already trash. It was a lot more entertaining with Jake being in there, but that it's becoming a shit show too. But you know, you have no salt, man. Okay, so people in the replies are like, "This is painful to watch. I cannot believe how incredibly stupid this country has become." If somebody says, "What is white food?" I cannot believe how incredibly stupid this country has become. Yeah, what is white food? Green bean casserole. You know what I'm saying? Esau got his own shit. Esau. He goes out and hunts for certain shit and puts his twist on his own little shit. You know, but he's the reason why everybody is eating abominable foods. That's your culture. You know. Okay, it says another person applauded Senator Murphy's line of questioning that pressed Carl on the issue. Well, they all being pressed, but they're not really answering no questions, man. And they're not being held in contempt. Somebody says it's so important to drill down on these ideas so you can reveal how deeply stupid they are. Put this clip in a museum, damn, online. Online, this guy is an uncharitable, wanna be tough guy. Yeah, that's Esau. That's them, man. That's Trump as well. They're all wanna be tough guys, man. When forced to defend himself in person, he stammers through it and appears to be on the verge of tears. A reminder that being based online is not a job qualification for the federal government. Yeah, man, that's all of them, man. And they a bunch of gaslighting, a bunch of deflecting. They don't answer no straight questions and shit like that. I don't even know why they even be having these these congressional roundtables, so to speak, because nothing ever gets done. Because these people don't answer no questions. They sit there and they plead the fifth, or it's just like, what are you asking these people questions that they're not going to answer? You're not holding them in contempt. It's not like you can make them answer you. They coming through there, they give you some doofy shit, some old legalese bullshit, and then they walk out with their people and on to the next shit. This shit is just stupid. Okay, it says, and finally, this person said, racism is mostly an emotional reflex. Trying to rationalize it in front of intelligent people doesn't go well. Well, racism, hey man, you Edomites are in control. You're able to be racist because you're the ones that's in power. You can't be racist when you don't have power, man. Because Jacob is just a worm. We just here working. You're taking taxes out of our checks and putting the money towards whatever you want to put it towards, and we have no say in none of that. We're here. We're living under your laws. We're here. We got to send our kids to school under your curriculum. We're here, and we just Just waiting, man. It's just a waiting game. We're just waiting on the Lord, man, and praying that we're part of the hopefully elect. That's it, man. Because you Edomites, if it was up to you, we would never get any fucking justice, man. None whatsoever. Okay, but it says, what are your thoughts? Okay, let us know in the comments below. And it's pretty much about it. Well, when you go into the comments, yeah, people clowning his ass. So these Edomites are really just overall being clowned, man. Hmm. Here you go. You're on the world stage being known as fucking being damn cannibals and eating kids right now. And these are the people that's running the planet, man. This the perfect picture right here. Matter of fact, I should have used this shit. Matter of fact, let me take a screen of this boy. Maybe it won't do it with this. Oh, there it go. Damn. Anyway, though, yeah, man, you see what it is. Esau ass is cooked. The people are starting to cook, stir his ass. And it's just not a good look for Esau right now, man. And again, they pissed off, they losing, man. They really are going out like these children, that you see that are just spoiled. You see these white kids, man. I've seen them in Walmart. They just let them just stand up in the fucking cart, man, and just scream at the top of their lungs, and they don't even say nothing to them. They don't try and calm them down. They don't say stop it. They don't care about everybody else hearing that shit or looking at it. They just push the cart on the lawn, just letting them just be a fucking idiot, man. And these are your school shooters. Here's another one. This is a good picture too. That it's a grown ass man, a man who consciously bought this outfit, put it on, looked in the mirror, and still decided to venture out into the public wearing it. And they say we have TDS. Look at this. Yeah, man. Through as hell. That's a perfect picture right there too, man. Anyway, I'm gonna end off there, man. Yeah. Look at this shit. Edomites. This is their culture right here. They got culture like this. Stupid shit. Stupid shit. Bitch is kind of sexy though. But this shit is just stupid. All they sports is stupid as hell. Music stupid as hell. But they got it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They sit around, they have their politics, they have their round tables, they doing it all, man. They're running the earth. Like, what the fuck is you talking about white identity? Like as if you're just being erased. You're the ones that's out here running every damn thing. You're the ones, that Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. We can clearly see it's you that's running the earth, nigga. But the people start to see that you're the wicked now. Before you could hide that wickedness so very well. But now that internet is on their ass, man. So it's not a good look for Esau, man. So with that, hey, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwam Yashala and the Bible Ball. Hey, continue on putting that pressure on Esau, man. Continue on praying that this man's kingdom falls. So with that, Shalom.